Step 1. We come on into the bee test game and we say play. Don't want to edit it right now, we just want to play it. Come on down to the bee test game. So, I'm going to start off joining as blue. Wait, okay, so I'm blue and I'm going to go to the current version. So, this is the current version. Right now, because I'm blue, I can only see what blue can see. I can't see anything in here, can't see anything in here, can see here because this is blue, as you can see right there. The other colors are around there, but we'll ignore all that for now. Because really the only thing that I have to worry about is my own little slice of the world. This symbol represents how big my hive is, and the hive grows horizontally and vertically. So if I were to build 3 and I were here, I would build 1, 2, 3. That's that's how big my hive would be. Pretty simple. Now, as the game progresses, this information is hidden from all players. This information is public to all players. So if I have 1, 2, 3 nectar, 1 pollen, and 1 honey in my hive, the slider would say 1, 2, 3 nectar, 1 honey, and 1 pollen, and 6 bees. So I would have 6 bees. Alright, pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. This is hidden, the distribution of it all is hidden. Other players don't get to know that, but they do get to know what is in my hive in the same way that I can't see what's in here unless I change color to, let's say, what color is this? Red. If I change color to red, now I can see, I would be able to see what's in here, but I can't see what's in there now. Unless it's off there. Okay, whatever. It doesn't matter. So, let me just log back in as blue. So that's a representation of what is in my hive. When this is revealed to other players, right click, share with red, yellow, blue, green, brown. When that's revealed to everybody else, they can see the distribution specifically of everything, but we don't really need to worry about that right now. That's just a screen top thing. How it would work in reality is you would pull away the screen, revealing what you've done. So, I have a series of actions that I can do right up here. I can nurse. I spend pollen to get bees. I can build. I spend honey to make my hive bigger. I process. I turn nectar into honey. I guard. I protect my hive from robbers. I can rob other players. Or I can forage and collect from the world. Or maybe get some random events. Stuff like that. So, let's look at nurse. This is my hive right now. Every single one of these little symbols is a place that I can nurse. If I have pollen on top of this, and I put a bee in nursing, the nurse bee will spend this, and I will earn a new bee to my bee pool. If this tile is covered with something else for whatever reason, something that is not pollen, I cannot use this to nurse. So for this hive, no matter how many bees I put into nursing, there's nowhere for them to nurse because there are no eggs, because there are no brood, because where the queen would lay her eggs and her brood is taken up by a stack of nectar. If this were vacant, and I had pollen over here, I could put a bee into nursing, and this bee would use this pollen, and I would earn a new bee. Hopefully that makes sense. So currently, if my hive is outlined like this, I can put 1 bee into nursing. If my hive is bigger, maybe even this big, and I have a piece of pollen in there, I can put 1 bee into nursing, and I can put a 2nd bee into nursing. This pollen and this pollen would be spent, and I would earn 2 bees. However, if these were both filled in, or even if one of them were filled in by not pollen, I can't put bees into nursing because it's filled in. So I hope that makes sense. That's nursing. Nursing is how you earn new bees. That's how you make baby bees. up next is building. So currently, let's say that's what my hive looks like. I have 4 honey. Nectar, all you can do with nectar is turn it into honey. But right now I have 4 honey. So I could put 1, 2, 3, 4 bees into building. Now what that would do is it would take this and it would go 1, 2, 3, 4, and it would spend all 4 of these from the hive. And that would be my building. I would nurse, earn myself a nurse bee. This builds up 4, and yeah, so I have 1 bee left. If I had some nectar, right, I could then process. Each processing bee flips 1 nectar to its honey side. So I'd put this here, and I'd be able to do that, because that's the bee that's processing. Now this honey I can't use for building because the build phase ends before the process phase begins. So the nursing stage happens, I earn bees. The building stage happens, I spend honey. The processing stage happens, I flip nectar into honey. Then guarding and robbing. Both of these are indicated 5 because they both happen at the same time. It's a comparison. The amount of defense that I have in my hive is equivalent to I need a guard. Damn. Okay. We're gonna, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a hexagon there that says guard, and that's where I put all the bees that are guarding in. But suffice to say, every bee that I put into guarding, not any of the nurse bees, I'm just using them because they're there. So if I put 3 bees into guarding, I would have a total strength, defense strength of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If it were like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Every bee that you put into guarding is worth 2 strength. So 2 defense, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 defense, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good, pretty strong, pretty solid hive. Now, how robbing works, if I were being robbed by a player or several players by a rob strength of more than 10, they would steal a honey for each strength over. So if I were being robbed by a player who was throwing 12 strength of robbing into attacking me, they would take up to 2 honey. They wouldn't take pollen, they wouldn't take nectar, but they would take up to 2 honey because I have 10 strength, they have 12 strength. And for every 3 bees, 1 bee on the other side dies. So I have a strength of 10, I would kill 3 bees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They have a strength of 12, they would kill 4 bees. Now, I would lose 1, 2, 3, 4. First you lose the guards, and then you lose from your hive. There's another stage which we haven't talked about, which is foraging. If these bees had all been dedicated to foraging, and a player came over to kill my bees, to rob me, these bees would all be safe, because they're actually out here. Every bee that's in foraging is safe from the effects of robbing. From the effects of robbing. So, robbing works. If you are robbed, you try to protect your hive with guards. If you're robbing other players, you're trying to steal honey from them. Now, if I were robbing, we'll come back to foraging in a second, but if I put 1, 2, 3, 4... If I put 7 bees into robbing somebody, just to say who I'm robbing, I would put it on this. I'd be like, all right, we're robbing brown, or we're robbing yellow, or we're robbing them. Because you can't, rob yourself, obviously. But I could rob green. And I'm in blue, I can fly 1, 2, 3 hexes away. 1, 2, 3 hexes away. So I kind of have that extra ability to collect and fly and do all that stuff. Let me also edit that. But before we do that, so that just says who I'm robbing. I can only rob one player per turn. Place one bee on the target hive's color. So, you know, red or whoever. Foraging. If I put 7 bees into foraging, some of that will be scouting, some of it will be collecting. So from my little hive here, I will draw tiles. So I can put this tile 1, 2, 3 hexes away. So that is a scout bee. Goes to the bee pool. Then blue. 1, 2, 3. That is a blue. So that's 2 scouts. Now I have a total strength of 5, with which I could forage. I can earn 1, 2, 3, not 5. So I'm going to scout one more time. A third scout. And this clover, let's put 1, 2, 3. Let's put it right over there. Now, I have 4 collectors. So I'm going to put 2 there, 1 on clover, and 1 on clover. And I will collect goods. So I can collect 1 pollen, 2 pollen, and I'm going to collect 1 nectar, 2 nectar. Each bee that you forage with collects 1 thing. That can either be nectar or it can be pollen. This blue tile will yield 2 total. So if I put a bee and red puts a bee, this now flips over, becomes exhausted. Nobody else can collect stuff from it until it refreshes, replenishes, whatever you want to call it. So it has 2 bees on it, it becomes exhausted. And that's foraging. All of these bees fly home. They were safe from the effects of any robbing. They come back to the bee pool. And I have a new freshly stocked hive. And it's on to the next turn. Share. Okay. So next turn, I could put 1 into nurse, 2 into nurse, because I have this pollen that I can spend. Those would get spent. I could put 1 into building. This would build up 1. This would go away. I could put 2 into processing for next turn. And I could put 2 into defense. I won't collect very much, but so maybe I should put these into foraging and collect a couple more pollen so that I have more ability next turn. This also means I have a defense of 4. It's not a lot, but it is something. So if somebody were to come over, they would probably have a pretty good chance of stealing my honey. So it's really a question of what it is that I actually want to do. Maybe instead of nursing twice, I nurse once, which would only spend 1 pollen, and I guard once, so that I have total strength of 6. And then I would come over here and I would be like, all right, I have 2 honey, I have no nectar, I have 1 pollen, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bees. Now you might be asking, all right, what happens when you get to the end of this and you fill up your hive with honey? You flip it over, and now I have 11. I have 10, now I have 12. Now, that might get a little bit out of control with the bees, but we'll worry about that when we come to it. Okay. Now, I think everything is pretty much in order. The only thing that I haven't yet done are these. Now these, there are a series of random events that can happen to people. No, I don't want a bookmark, thank you. There's also this little guide up here which tells you what everything does. This tells you what everything does. This tells you what everything does. And every turn there's weather. So sunny, 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 overcast, rainy, sunny. And then all of this gets shuffled. Comes back here. Sunny this turn. Rainy, overcast. And so all of that kind of happens. Yeah. So there's 4 sunny, 1 overcast, 1 rain. And that's the guide. And that, you know, every action is very simple. Everything that happens in it is very simple. But when you have 6 players around a table, I don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. Nobody knows what's going to happen. It's pretty good. All right. So that's a pretty good demo, I think. Goodbye. Have a wonderful day.